that button. There we go. We have Richard Clark. We have Richard Nongard. We have a few other people. Hello, Rob. Hello, Larry, Spencer, and a few others coming in. So we're relaxing on a wonderful Tuesday evening in 2014 and beginning the new way of doing class. I'm going to unmute you all in just a moment. Whoops. And first I'm going to, Well, Richard, that's just what I was writing, just as you sent it to me as a text. Just a second, my headphones have started acting funny. There we go. Yeah, I was just saying that as you were texting it to me. I am just about to unmute you all so that we can have conversation. You guys can ask questions and stuff like that. And just remember that because I'm doing that, if you don't want to be heard, you should probably mute yourself. So there we go. And now you are, that should do it. I'm pressing unmute all, and it's not working as well as I'd hope. Let's try that again with the button. Yeah, I'm going to have to do it all manually. Okay.
Muted.
Now you're all unmuted. Now you're all unmuted.
Hello?
Hello, yes, we hear you.
Hello, yes, we hear you. Okay, hi. I've got a headset, so that's nice.
Well, somebody doesn't have a headset, which is making a little bit of an echo.
I have a headset.
It's me. I'm guilty of not having a headset.
All you have to do is mute yourself, and then when you want to talk,
on my travel bag.
yeah. In the meantime, just go ahead and I'll mute you. And let's press that. There we go. Is that better?
Oh. So someone's got an echo.
Let me try this. It's not the best headset in the world. Maybe the audio is a little bit loud. Better?
Sounds good, yes.
Well,
okay, that was it. Sorry about that.
An echo from when you're talking, we can't hear, but there's an echo. Oh, now it's gone. Oh, no, it's still there a little, but it's not difficult.
Yeah, there's definitely still an echo.
Well, Scott, how many people are there? I can't see because I'm not an
there's 7 of us tonight.
Well, you can just mute and unmute one at a time, and you'll find the echo.
Well, that's. I was about to resort to that, and I think we might just have to. All right, let's just go through them. And I'm just going to keep talking. Larry's already muted, so we know it's not him. Rob is muted, so we know it's not him. Actually, by process of elimination, Spencer, it definitely is you. So
okay,
here, I'm going to mute you real fast just to double check. And as I talk, yeah, Spencer, it's definitely you. Oh my goodness, I've got reminders of class. There we go. So Spencer, that's fine. All that means is just mute yourself, and actually, it's fixed right now.
Okay, I turn it down way down low, so we'll see how this goes.
Perfect. And Roberta, I'm going to unmute you. And Richard Nongard, I'm going to unmute you. So there we go. Everybody's unmuted, and we're sounding good. My keyboard do setup thing that's going to make this easier was supposed to come in the mail by now, and it didn't. So we'll have to deal with it. By the way, if my video is small on your screen right now, either I'm at the top or the side, if that's the case, there's a way to make me bigger and the desktop behind me smaller proportionally. So it's either, if I'm at the top, there's 2 little, like an equal sign below me, and you kind of just click and drag that. And if I'm on the side, there's 2 little white vertical lines. It's small. And you just click and just pull that, and all of a sudden there will be a larger video, which is always just a little bit nicer. So that's that. And immediately we have somebody else's sound. Let's see. Can I find out who it is? Well, they stopped as soon as I started talking about it. That's fine. Okay. Let's talk HPTI. Oh, you know who it is? It's Richard Clark and Richard Nongard typing and talking. The 2 Richards are the ones making the typing noises.
Well, I wasn't making a typing noise. Someone opened the door and walked in. It was just
Okay.
a small background noise.
Okay.
It was me using my mechanical keyboard.
That is you using a mechanical keyboard. This is the two guys that are supposed to add the most value are adding the most distractions in the first minute and a half of this. This is amazing. Welcome to HPTI, where Richard and Richard antagonize Scott. And it's a reoccurring theme throughout the year if you want to take more of our classes. But they're overwhelmingly worth it, and so we put up with it, and then I get them back by not doing the things they ask. As always, well, not as always for you guys, we've been doing things a little differently lately with Juan and Dave doing a lot of the Hypnosis 100 classes. And we decided that for 2014 we're going to change that, and I'm going to be doing a lot more of them. And the reason for that is simple. Honestly, I kind of missed it. I just missed doing this class. I missed connecting with the Hypnosis 100 students. And I think it's an important part of the school is me getting to connect with you guys. And it's important for me, and I think it helps me to be better at communicating with you guys and kind of taking your pulse on this. And so because of that, I'm going to be doing a whole heck of a lot more of these. In fact, I'll be doing them every week unless something weird is going on. We'll be bringing in every once in a while one of our alums to talk about what they're doing post-HPTI. In just a couple days, we have the next graduation. And you know what? I'm going to scroll this just so we don't have something cycling quite so often behind me. That's probably just a little nicer. Yeah, we'll have a couple of alums showing up every now and again to talk about what they're doing post-HPTI and how it helps them and what classes they particularly recommend. And maybe other instructors, obviously Richard Clark and Richard Nongard are both here tonight. Both of them obviously teach classes at HPTI as well. But the big point of this Tuesday night class is about you guys asking questions as often and as much as possible, questions you guys have about the Hypnosis 100 videos or the reading, but also questions you may have about HPTI in general. If you have questions about what classes you want to take, any of the logistics, anything like that, this is a great opportunity for you to do exactly that. So another piece of it is if you guys don't ask questions and don't throw stuff at me, I can talk about hypnosis for a long, long time, but you've been getting enough of that already. So it's in your best interest to come locked and loaded with questions. Now, that's the overview of the Tuesday night class in 2014. I'm just going to start right away with opening it up to questions any of you have about anything at all.
Anyone else?
Spencer, you start. Go right ahead.
Okay. I actually have a list of questions because I came prepared.
I love it. Let's roll through your questions.
All right. For the hypnosis, I finished all the HPY 100 videos. I timed it weird, but I finished them all, and I've got a Thursday schedule for the video thing.
Okay.
The induction I'm most familiar with and that I'm most comfortable with is the progressive muscle relaxation, but I realize you don't want it more than 8 minutes long. So, would you like me to condition the client/subject first and then do like a rapid one? Or would you like me just to jump out on a limb and do a rapid induction and see what happens?
Well, I don't think those are the only two options, and either one of those is fine, but I think there's a lot of other options that would be more fun. Non-guard, I'm muting you. You are muted. I'll unmute you again in a second. I think that 8 minutes, you can do a progressive relaxation in 8 minutes. It's not as apparently deliberate or paced as you're used to doing, but I've seen, for this class, I've probably seen a dozen in the last 2 months. I've seen a dozen progressive relaxations that were under 8 minutes. So you could do that. You could also do a rapid, but there's a whole bunch of inductions that are, under 10 minutes long, under 5 minutes long, that I wouldn't consider rapid by any stretch of the imagination. You know, the element induction is just one easy example. You know, and you know, people have all sorts of, you know, opinions about the element induction, but just because
Funny story, I don't actually quote unquote know the element induction.
Okay.
I've obviously seen the video about it, but I haven't actually ever done it.
Sure. Well, yeah, I mean, it's an example. I mean, I wouldn't say you'd have to do that one at all, but you know, doing the element induction if you wanted to, which is apparently an incredibly thorough, special, and important induction, and it's fine, but it's, you know, it's whatever. That takes 2 to 3 minutes, and that's supposed to get, so you can, if you really just think about what your goal is and how you're pacing it, you can get it down to that time frame, and you wouldn't have to be in a hurry. Just be moving with purpose. You know, there have been a few videos that were, you know, 9, 10, 12 minutes, and that's fine. If it's a 9-minute video that's good, I'm not going to hurt you on points or anything like that. The thing that I want to get away from really in the class is somebody giving me, one student contacted me and she said, I don't feel comfortable doing an induction that takes less than 30 minutes. And,
oh, wow.
Yeah, and to me, I just think we should all be able to be more flexible than that. Now, if in your private practice you want to spend 30 minutes on an induction, that's your private practice. But I don't want to spend 30 minutes on your video, and I watch each video twice. I don't want to spend an hour of my life watching you induce hypnosis. And I also don't want to watch you do an entire hypnosis session. And so the point of the 8 minutes is to really have you focus on what you're trying to get done and then get out. I don't want to watch you help somebody stop smoking just because that's not the scope of this assignment. I really just want to watch how comfortable you are being with the client and going through a process and how much you're paying attention to the client during that. So
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Great. Next question on your list.
I'll just read what I wrote. HPTI, great classes. Should I start with basics and move up, or things which interest me and then do the requirements when I go to get certified? Just to preface this, I posted on the discussion forum the backstory. Basically, still in college. I'm 18. Don't have a private practice. Getting a social work degree. So there's no rush to get certified in a year.
Sure.
That's what I'm saying. So should I start with like law and ethics, history of hypnosis, or yeah? Okay.
It's a good question. The law and ethics piece, I would defer to Richard Clark on that, just because he teaches the law and ethics class, and where he would want that in terms of order operations with the education you're already getting in school. So that's a Richard question, and he's here, so he can answer that. My general question is, I mean, there's some things that we recommend at certain paces. For you, it is a pretty unique circumstance. We don't have anybody else, and I actually think we should get a lot more people like you, so tell all your classmates. What I'd love to see this school getting a lot of psych and counseling students. I think it's a great place for us. I would say my gut is go where you're going to be interested, because that's where you're going to be working harder. And if there's classes that you're interested in, you're going to get more out of them and you're going to put more into them. So your return on investment is going to be better and you're going to stay more motivated. And when you've got a lot of stuff on your plate, you might as well do the most fun stuff and go in that direction. Because there might be some stuff that overlaps in the two curriculums. And if that's the case, you know, we can just recognize, okay, if you're already doing neurology and psychopharmacology stuff at school, you don't need to take it with us. And so we can kind of just give you credit on any of those college level courses.
All right.
So in terms of looking to go through our entire program and graduate from HPTI, we can give you credit for college level courses. Now the internship is a slightly different thing, and you know, it might be a little early for you just because you don't have short-term ambitions of having a practice. So it might be a little, it might be a little early on that. But it also, honestly, it might be just really interesting and fun for you just to be able to sit in and listen to practicing practitioners discussing case studies and what they're doing. I don't know. That's up to you, but it's a fun class.
All right.
Spencer, real
Yes,
quick,
sir.
this is Richard Clark.
Hi, Richard.
I think that everyone should take the law and ethics course early, regardless of your goals, because it helps you to understand, ethics and laws, the distinctions between those and how they relate to hypnosis and hypnotherapy, where you're at. So it sets a good context for everything else you're going to learn later on. And so getting, it's a short class, it's 2 weeks, and it's not, it's not super challenging. I don't know. I think it's a good class. I get a lot of good feedback. I think it helps you in any other class you take, and it'll also just help you. It'll help you, if you're working, you're just starting out. I don't know if you're going to get a degree in sociology or social work or psychology first, or just liberal studies, or I don't know, but I think it's really, it'll help you to understand the place of hypnotherapy in your world. So I recommend that to everyone. It should be, I think, after hypnosis. The course was designed so that after hypnosis 100, you finish the intro, taking law and ethics, and then the other one, depending on whether or not it's already planned in your, matriculation plan at college or not, is critical thinking. Those two courses, and critical thinking is a little more difficult. Brian David Phillips is much more a pain in the ass than I am. But those two courses really help with, like I said, sort of setting a context, giving you a framework that's helpful for, taking all the other courses.
Okay. I appreciate that.
And to the other people who are watching and listening to now live or on the recording, in general, we strongly recommend that those two classes are the first ones you take after Hypnosis 100, or at least as early as possible. For some of you who've already done things like that. The Law and Ethics class, like Richard said, it is only 2 weeks. It's pretty brief, but it does set a very important frame for a lot of the other stuff. And just working as a professional hypnotist, there's so many hypnotists who don't know the difference between what a law is, what an ethical guideline is, and why they're different, and what the laws relating to hypnosis are. So I think it's really important for our students to be taking those classes. So that. So thank you, Richard. And Spencer, you probably have more questions.
Just 1.5 more.
Let's do it.
They link together.
Okay.
So this is non-HPTI specific related, if that's all right with you.
Sure.
I posted this on HypnoThoughts. It got like one response. I'm sure no one else saw it. But when I'm going through a session, I will have people that I have really great rapport with. I really connect with them, getting great results. But I'll go to do, and this is for like fun stuff, I'll go to do a certain phenomena, and it's different with different people, but it'd be like anesthesia. That's the one I have hardest problem with. Okay. Visual or auditory hallucination, and I've had one age regression issue.
Okay.
Going back to like 2nd grade. I'm like, how old are you? And she's like, I'm 17. Okay.
So that ends that.
The other half of that question is, I know we have a group and stage hypnosis thing here on HPTI, but aside from that, what resources would you recommend for more
Boy, did this couldn't have turned out better for you, Richard Nongard. Man, I wasn't going to recommend him at all.
Yeah, I was just thinking to myself, I have some thoughts and some answers on that.
Yeah, you just go ahead. I'll be quiet.
I'm a clinical hypnotherapist. I've certainly had my experiences in stage hypnosis, having performed in comedy clubs, corporate events, and in Las Vegas, and I love stage hypnosis. There are lots of people out there offering various trainings and things. I noticed that the HypnoThoughts Live actually has a 2-day post-conference stage hypnosis course. So I would recommend that as a starting point. There are other opportunities for you out there for learning stage hypnosis, and I think that William Mitchell actually teaches the class for HPTI. Am I correct?
Yep.
So, William's a competent guy and ethical person. My webpage, subliminalscience.com, has a ton of resources, and here's a little secret for you. My stage hypnosis course for the last 4 years has been offered in video and online at $299. It's never been less than $299. But this weekend, when I do something with John Serbone in Dallas, we're actually going to offer it for $129. So that is an opportunity for you. Normally, I wouldn't, hustle my products in this room, but that is actually something that's planned for this weekend. And that's a pretty comprehensive course because it goes from start to finish. Here's the thing about any stage hypnosis course, though. You want to look for somebody who has a grasp of clinical hypnosis, somebody who has a viewpoint that values the participant in the show, and somebody who understands that the primary goal of the stage hypnotist is really not hypnosis, it's entertainment for the audience. And those end up being the best shows. So, I think you have 3 good, solid resources, my online courses, DVDs, etc. The course here with William Mitchell is going to be a decent course, and the HPTI, or not the HPTI, but the HypnoThoughts course, the 2-day post-conference, I looked at the content of it. It looks fantastic. I don't know the guy who's teaching the course, but I'm sure he's a good guy, or he probably wouldn't be teaching it for 2 days. And those are some opportunities. And I do recommend that if people get a chance to go out to Vegas and do training with one of the Vegas acts, if they really get serious about performing stage hypnosis, which of course I've done, but some of the current guys out there, both Mark Savard offers a course, as well as Kevin Lapine. Both of them are excellent. I have probably a much closer relationship with Kevin Lapine, and I also think he's an excellent teacher. So there's just a lot of opportunities out there. What you want to avoid in learning stage hypnosis is, the $29 instant download, become a stage hypnotist tomorrow kind of course, because those aren't really going to be comprehensive, and they're not going to teach you. They're going to teach you some hypno tricks, but they probably won't teach you how to both respect the audience and entertain the audience in the same way at the same time, which can actually be a challenge. So those are some of my random thoughts on that.
Great. The other piece to the first half of your question about challenges with different phenomena. When I was your age, I was doing what you're doing. I was in college for something else and learning hypnosis, and I was doing hypnosis in dorm rooms for fun, and at a frat party or things like that, and very unorganized and just kind of casual stuff that escalated a little bit over time. And I found the same thing. I found some phenomena worked really well and some didn't. And there's 2 real variables in that: you and them. And some things, it might just be your technique in that sucks. It might just be your wording is wrong, or you're setting yourself up for failure in something you're setting up, maybe 2 steps earlier. And it's difficult to parse that out, just with the information we have. But the other piece is, not every person you hypnotize is going to be equally responsive to each kind of thing. And I think one of the things that a really good stage hypnotist will be able to do is be able to calibrate what phenomena any one of their volunteers is going to be more responsive to. And they're good at gauging who the better subjects in any sort of area are. And that's why you look at the first things that a stage hypnotist does, and they're sort of group things. It's the hot and cold, it's the person next to you smells, it's the rocket ship, it's any of those things. And they see who their high responders are, and they can even calibrate which of the suggestions get what kind of results. So you might get one person who, is in the dorm, who does a great job at auditory hallucinations, but can never do visual hallucinations. That doesn't mean you're necessarily doing it wrong. You might be doing it perfectly. That might not just be where they're skilled. So there's it's tough to give more specific feedback than that, but those would be my knee-jerk answers on that. And I think good stage hypnotists are good at managing that. And I think good stage hypnosis training helps you with those things.
Okay. Yeah, that's very satisfactory. Thank you.
Cool. Those were fun questions. Thank you. So before we get to other people's questions, I'd just like to notice and point out that, Spencer came prepared with questions, and we spent 15 minutes just answering them and really dedicating ourselves to coming up with good, satisfactory things. And if you come to class, you get to do that too. So other people are in class. Rob's here, and Roberta's here, and a few other people are here. Do any of you guys have any questions about Hypnosis 100 or HPTI at large?
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead. Is that Rob?
Yes.
Yeah.
I submitted my induction and a request to do the exam.
Yes, you
My
did.
time limit has run out. My extended time limit has run out, and I'm still waiting for a reply to do the exam.
Oh, that's fun, because I've already watched your video and I enjoyed it. And apparently,
2.5 minutes.
yeah, it was brief and I enjoyed it. I recognized your voice because I've watched your video. I will check my email outbox as soon as we're done with class, and I'll get that. I'll get the link to you, and I'll get that to you right away. I have it done, so I don't know a weird email glitch. I apologize.
Thank you. That's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, no problem.
Done.
Great, that's easy. Okay. And based on what I saw in the video, I bet you'll do just fine on the final. Hopefully that you've used this extra time to study, because was that 10 days ago? That was a while ago. Maybe it was only a week ago. I don't know.
How about that?
Yeah, it was a bit.
But then
It was last week for sure.
I've been to music festivals. I've been to the beach. I've been on holidays. I've really had fun.
Good. Well, I'm glad you weren't sitting around just waiting by the phone for me.
This is Australia.
Yeah.
We
Where
do
are
it.
you in Australia, by the way?
At this moment, I'm in the capital,
Okay.
but we just arrived back last night. So,
From where?
All
All over.
yesterday I was at my granddaughter's first birthday.
Oh, nice. Oh, that's fun. I've only been to Australia once, and I really enjoyed it. I hope to go back someday, but we'll see. I'd like to get to the Great Barrier Reef. That's something I'd want to do.
Okay, it's reasonable. I like Vanuatu better.
I'm not a connoisseur of the stuff down there. I'd need to do my homework. I'm a big
Diving
scuba
in
diver.
Malaysia is good too.
Yeah, I'd like to get just that whole area. I'd like to do a big trip down there sometime.
Drop in and say hi. You're welcome always.
Oh,
Got a
beautiful.
spare room.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, scuba diving, very hypnotic thing. You don't weigh anything. Nobody talks to you, and pretty stuff floats by. It's a whole world. It's awesome. All hypnotists should scuba dive, because you're not allowed to talk for an entire hour, and nobody asks you questions for an entire hour. It's very good for us. I recommend it highly. So, anybody else with questions?
I could never go scuba diving.
Really? Why not? You can't stand the idea of not talking for an hour?
Have you ever heard me quiet for an hour, Scott?
I haven't, no. It's pretty, you'd be talking to fish 20 minutes in. You'd be taking your mouthpiece out and yelling at fish. Although I wonder what you've got a deeper voice. Most animals who are underwater do a higher pitch thing. It'd be interesting to see how you'd work. It'd be playing to all your weaknesses.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should stay topside.
So Scott, I've got a question. It's Larry.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Is that Larry?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Larry.
Do we get back the mistakes we made so we can know where we messed up?
No, you don't. This is a frequent request, and Richard is probably shaking his head. And I'll do the whole thing so you don't have to, Richard. We don't do it for a few reasons. We've given this. Everybody wants this. Here's why we don't give those answers. First reason is because we just don't like the idea of just giving out the answers to the test, because it's a test that we take seriously, and we don't like, we've caught a couple people over the last 2 and change years cheating at HPTI, which makes no sense to us, but that's just how humans are. So we don't want to make that easier, so we just have a blanket policy on that, which makes sense. The other thing we found, though, and we did this a couple different times with students who were very insistent. They said, look, I want to know this stuff. I want to learn from my mistakes. And we said, okay, here's what we'll do. And Richard actually did this with a couple of them. He said, you missed 4 questions on the final. Here are the answers to those questions. And he discussed it with them. They discussed each question. The person understood it and learned from it. And a week later, 2 weeks later, something like that, Richard can clarify if I'm wrong, but a week or 2 later, Richard asked those questions to the person again, and they got them wrong again. So what we found is that we don't learn from our mistakes. We just assess it, and we just keep moving. The final piece is we really think of HPTI, we know it's not a college, but we really think of it like one, and we want to model it like one as often as possible. And throughout my career as a student, and I think most of you had a similar experience, when one class is over, the next class starts. And at the end of the semester, that teacher isn't your teacher anymore. And whatever you got in that class, you got in that class and you move on. And now you're too busy with the next class to be in the previous one. So if you have concerns about any question that were specific while you were taking it, or if you want to go over it, we're happy to do that with you on a one-on-one basis. But what we found is that's not as productive as you would hope it would be.
What we mostly found also, Larry, is like I tell people, if you did poorly on the test, I'll take some time and go over the areas you've missed to try to help you gain some understanding. I've found people that do poorly on the test never come asking about it, and the people I hear from consistently are people that got A's and B's on the test, and they have to know that one answer they missed.
It's usually not B's.
2 answers they missed.
Yeah, it's not B's, it's A's.
That's really all just about emotion and competitiveness, and not about learning. So.
Okay. Well, that's fair, and for me, it's just curiosity.
Of course.
And I'm not worried about it. So.
And there is that piece too, where and you did well. If someone missed 2 or 3 questions or whatever it is, and you go, what was that? Which one did I miss? And I get that curiosity. So, if it's important to you, you can come to us, and we're happy to do it. But
that's not important. I just wrote down the ones I thought didn't do well, may have missed, and I was just curious if I was right.
Sure. And that's the curiosity piece, which makes sense.
I'll live.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. I don't think you went into that final wondering if you were going to pass. I didn't go into your project wondering if you were going to pass or not. I can't imagine you did. But anyway. So we've got 15 minutes left. Which is the perfect amount of time for anybody to ask any other questions about Hypnosis 100 or HPTI at large. See how that's a reoccurring theme. Or you can just ask a question about hypnosis in general. That's what Spencer did about the stage stuff or stage-related stuff. If you don't have anything, I'm just going to start talking, and you don't need more of me in your life.
Or I'll start talking.
Yeah, and that might.
And then it won't be 15 minutes then.
Yeah, I have to interrupt him as often as I can, because if he gets momentum, he won't stop. He's a man of inertia. Anything, guys? All right, here's my brief story. Well, let's see. Which one do I want to do? You know what I want to do? I want to give you guys a recommendation for Netflix. Because you don't have enough stuff to watch that's hypnotic in nature. And I want to recommend something that I think is some of the best storytelling and nested loops I have ever seen in my entire life. And if you look at Ericksonian storytelling, you look at, Quentin Tarantino does all that start in the middle of the story, and then you get backstory that fills things in. and all that. And that's neat. But if you want to look at something that's subtle and nuanced and very just simple storytelling that's done wonderfully, look up a guy named Mike Birbiglia. Mike Birbiglia, he's a writer, he's a stand-up comedy guy, he's a one-man show kind of guy. And he's one of the only comedians that will make you cry. And, you know, I can watch an action movie and go to bed. If I watch Mike Birbiglia, I stay up thinking about it because he's very good at what he does. Birbiglia is spelled Birbiglia, Birbiglia, yeah. And he's done a few things. And the guy who made The Avengers and a couple other big-name Hollywood guys have all said that Birbiglia is the best storyteller they know. So that's I think, high praise. And he just did a one-man show for the last 4.5 years, and he really spends time just working on one story at a time. And the one that he just finished doing was one called My Girlfriend's Boyfriend. And it's the story of love. And the central story is the story of when he's been dating a girl. He's this high school kid. He's been dating this girl for a while, and 2 months into the relationship, she tells him, "You're such a great friend. I really like you. I really want to introduce you to my boyfriend." And he's had no idea this entire time that they haven't been dating. And it's just this tragic, sad thing. And then he meets the boyfriend, and the boyfriend's kind of nice and is not a villain. And it's just him being not comfortable expressing himself. And it's all about learning how to express yourself in relationships. But that's not the point. The point isn't the context. The point is the structure. Look at Mike Birbiglia and look at the way he structures things. Look at the way he sets things up to loop them back around. It's some of them. It's a 2-hour hypnosis event, and it's so well crafted and it's so well manicured. His earlier stuff is not as well crafted. I mean, it's good, but it's experimental, and he's kind of figuring things out. You know, he does things like, well, what I should have said was, whatever. Yeah, if you look at My Girlfriend's Boyfriend, you'll see what I'm talking about. He did another one called Sleepwalk with Me because he has a sleep disorder. But if you want to watch great hypnosis, I just saw all of you stopped watching my screen so you could all go look it up or write it down. Like I just watched all of you turn off. That's really funny. Yeah, look up My Girlfriend's Boyfriend by Mike Birbiglia. And his structure is just plain beautiful. You'll want to watch it twice. And just if you've seen James Hazelrig, who now teaches the history of hypnosis, some of you have seen him do his final project for HPTI was a story he calls From Trunk to Tail, and it's a series of nested loops about elephants, and it's very good. The one he did live, I think, is slightly better than the one he made recorded for his final project for me, for Hypnosis 315. Birbiglia's thing is that, but instead of it being 25 minutes, it's 2.5 hours. And it's such a roller coaster of feelings. And he does such a good job of making you laugh, but also making you feel like, as an audience member, that you and he have an inside joke, that you guys share a common history. And that's not what most comedy is. Most comedy is telling you jokes about airplane food. And, you know, Jerry Seinfeld, why is this? What a wacky thing. And this guy intentionally does things that emotionally move you. And when you watch something that good, you don't think, I can't wait to tell my friends this story. You know, bad comedy is, I can't wait to tell this joke at work tomorrow. Great stand-up comedy is you forget that you're, you know, going to be able to tell. So you can't even remember the story, and you can't share it because it is our inside joke. And that's what Birbiglia does better than just about anybody in the game, maybe better than anybody in the game. And you can't synthesize it down into a simple story. And it's beautifully done. I think it's better than Louis C.K. And I like Louis C.K. as a comedian a lot. I like George Carlin, and I think Birbiglia is doing something that's totally different and experimental. But I think stand-up comedy is an important part of effective storytelling and philosophy, which is the reason why I do it at HypnoThoughts Live, is because it's a really great exercise for me that Richard Clark makes me do. But look that up. If you have free time and you just want something different, that's a piece that you should be studying. And to watch what he's doing and the subtleties and what he does with self-deprecating humor and bringing people along and looking at ways to soften something so that he can hit hard with other things. He sets it up beautifully. So that's my sales pitch on that. I don't get commission. So that's 4 minutes on Mike Birbiglia. Does that bring up any questions?
Actually, one thing, Scott.
Yeah.
While you're on that, you mentioned in the Hypno 100 the Rachel Raymond book.
Yeah.
And the couple who became themselves. Became each other, I should say.
That's one.
And I just want to put in, they're excellent. I got all 3 of them, and I've been zooming through them bits and pieces.
Great.
And they are just, like you say, there's your hypnosis, your script books.
Yeah, those are your script books.
There's a ton of stuff in there. It's
there's the big red book, and there's all those, the big book of hypnotic scripts, and there's all those things. I think Rachel Naomi Raymond stuff is the best stuff. The David Kaloff book that you mentioned, The Couple Who Became Each Other, that is the textbook that we use for Hypnosis 315, the final class at HPTI. We use that book because it's a series of case studies, and it's just you get into you read a chapter or you read a case study, and we as a class will discuss what things from the school year did we just see demonstrated in what he just did, and where do these things apply. So yeah, Kaloff is cool. My Grandfather's Blessings and Kitchen Table Wisdom are both. I haven't read either of them in a while, and I was talking to somebody about them. I kind of want to reread them and look and see. She's also got another thing called The Will to Live, but it was an audiobook. I don't think it was ever written. Maybe it's out by now. I don't know. I haven't looked up her stuff in a while. But yeah, she's a great writer.
Yeah, just thought I'd put that in.
Thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying them. I'm not surprised because they're just great. But I'm glad people are taking the recommendation. Nothing else from people? Okay. Well,
I mean, I could jump back in with more hypnosis questions.
Do, Spencer.
Well, one other thing.
Oh, yeah, Larry, first. Go ahead. Larry first.
Just very quickly, I noticed on the thing you sent out, you mentioned that we're doing Monday night talks, but they're every Tuesday night.
Yeah, I'm sorry. My Photoshop and my writing are just disconnected.
But it is going to be Tuesday nights?
It is going to be Tuesday nights. I promise.
Just checking.
Yeah.
I thought you just wanted to see if we paid attention.
Monday night classes every Tuesday.
Okay, good.
That's the way we're doing it. We're going to do a Monday night class every single Tuesday from now on. So yes, they will be on Tuesday. They'll be this time every week. Spencer, go right ahead.
I feel out of depth a lot of times because everyone here is quite experienced in the field of hypnosis and hypnotherapy, and I'm jumping in and I'm just like, I've been doing it for about 1.5 years.
That's long enough.
So self-hypnosis. I'm also doing the HMI Foundations class. It's okay. It's okay. Final exams tomorrow, and it'll be fine, you know.
Okay.
And they did this little throwaway where they're just like, don't enter self-hypnosis if you're in a negative state. And I did a little Google search and I'm like, is this true? Because I was, you know,
Sure.
I have these things that do these things and
Sure.
it's not fun. So I'm just like, I'm not having a good night. I don't want to not have a good night. Let's just jump in and do self-hypnosis, see if it makes it worse. I jumped in, did a 5-minute thing, and I opened my eyes. I'm like, this is great.
Yeah.
I don't know why they say that.
I don't know why they say that either. I like HMI. I think a lot of what they do is good. I think their foundation course is too brief and too easy. But it's not my job to tell them how to run their business. They're running a much bigger business. But I like their program. I think they've got good stuff. And George is a great guy. And a couple of their other instructors are great guys too. Ken Dubner is a lot of fun, and whatever, on and on. But I hadn't heard that, and I think that's silly. I think you can absolutely enter hypnosis while you're in a negative state of mind if your goal is to get into a positive state of mind. I think let's look at outcome-oriented, brief therapy, all those ideas. If you just look at outcome-oriented interventions, and you say, I'm in a negative state of mind, I want to use this tool to get into a positive state of mind or a better state of mind, I think that's what the tool is for. So I think I don't know why they would say that. I'd ask them if I saw them.
Something about filtering messages, negativity.
There are some people who think hypnosis in the subconscious mind is somehow magic, and that you stop being a rational human being with capable abilities of discernment and judgment. And I don't think that's necessarily true. I think you're still an empowered human even when hypnotized, and you're just more of yourself, maybe. So, no, I think hypnosis is a great tool for changing your state of mind. Unless somebody else, if either the Richards or anybody else disagrees with me, feel free. Non-guard, you are all about mindfulness and doing meditation as a daily practice, right? Is he even still here, or did I tell him he couldn't talk and so he left? I think he might have left. All right, well,
He probably left, but I've heard many times that people suffering from depression have actually died from hypnosis. It happens 3-4 times a week.
Oh yeah, it really is. It's like the causes of death are heart disease, drinking and driving, self-hypnosis while upset. It's right there. It's in the top. It's worse than smoking. I don't think it's something
That and creating bipolar and multiple personality disorder.
Yeah, you probably create that. No problem. That's definitely what would happen. No, I think it's not anything to worry about. I think it's a non-issue. I think it's absolutely a non-issue. Cool.
I was thinking so too, but I wanted someone informed.
Sure.
Several people informed it.
And by the way, there's a lot of us who were once where you are now, and so you'll get a lot of support on HypnoThoughts and HPTI from, being the age you are and interested in hypnosis. There's a lot of us who were there at one point. I was, like I said, Brian David Phillips was doing it when he was younger, and there's a good chunk of us that were. So it's cool and it's fun, and you actually have a huge advantage over everybody else in the program, in that you have college students around you who are willing to be practiced on. So you have that as a huge head start.
Yeah. When I started, I was actually quite a bit older than I am now. So.
Yeah, that's the weird thing. I have a picture of Richard from when he's older, and he didn't look good. He's much younger now. He ages backwards like Benjamin Button. Or Merlin. Anyway. Ooh, all sorts of noises telling me that I need to go get my hair cut. Look at that. I got to turn off those notifications when I'm doing class. Everything's just beeping and exploding in my office. Wow, I thought I had that off. Well, that noise is telling us that class is up so that I can go get my hair cut. So, with that, it's been a fun class, and I hope this has been helpful for you guys. To those of you who watched the recorded video later, you should come every Tuesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific and ask your own questions. And if you haven't already, remember to look at Mike Birbiglia's thing in your spare time. But more importantly, take some classes at HPTI. Take this stuff seriously. It's so much fun when you're good at it, and it's a great way to help people. And don't be intellectually lazy about something you're passionate about, because that doesn't make any sense. So I'll see you guys around. Use the forum, use the discussion forum, and we'll have more questions. All right, I'll talk to you later. Goodbye, everyone.
Enjoy your haircut.
Thank you.
Thanks, Scott.